Alright guys, so it seems to be a lot of varying opinions when it comes to One Piece. Some people think it's good, other people think it's bad, and other people are just confused. So I went through a bunch of videos and I put together the major things that everyone seems to be talking about. Some people say that the adaptation is too respectful to the original content, others say that it's too close to the source material, and others just say that it's too damn sexy. With that said, let's talk about One Piece.
But you get the idea. I'm setting out to follow my dream. To find the One Piece. And become King of the Pirates!
Okay, that's enough of that. So he's
Alright, I'm not gonna lie, I had the same reaction that this guy did here. When I heard that one line, it just felt very much cheesy, when in the anime, it feels a lot more believable.
Critics coming out and saying that they relied too much on the source material and that the show was too focused on trying to honor the source material and honor the fans to actually create a good story.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
When in my opinion, that's exactly what you're meant to do with a live-action remake. Because when you're doing a live-action remake, you're retelling a story that already had a massive fan base. And so when you go and tell that story, you have to honor the source material, otherwise those fans are going to be angry. So I don't understand the critics that are coming out and saying that that was what was bad with the show. Because what do they really want? Because when you look at other live-action remakes, especially coming from Disney and the recent Witcher series from Netflix, they disrespected the source material, and that was exactly what was wrong with the movies and the show.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere.
Yeah, let's change the entire story to make it more modern. So I think that what he's saying is somewhat true. You do want to honor the source material, meaning that the underlying focus of the source material should not be changed, right? And this is what's wrong with a lot of these Disney adaptations that have come out. They've changed the focal point of the story itself. However, I will say that if you are just remaking the anime into a live action bit by bit, then what's the point, right? And I think that to an extent, One Piece did this right. It does stick to the focal point of One Piece while at the same time adding a different flair to the entire story.
Where this series falters is in its rush to squeeze 17 hours of anime down to only 8 hours of live action. To do this, they cut a number of characters and story arcs, many of which help connect the audience to these characters and allowed for bonds to be formed between the Straw Hats.
To be honest, I'm not so sure if I agree. I think that the fact that they had to squeeze so much in those 8 hours actually made for a more unique story and made it different than the anime, so you're not just rewatching the same stuff.
It feels as though it was written by someone with a basic knowledge of the characters, but who didn't understand the specific nuances. Nami steals from everyone instead of just pirates. Zoro is a more traditional brooding swordsman instead of a powerful but carefree idiot who will get lost easily. The anime is at the top of the shonen world, but the live action, while not bad, isn't even a top 10 Netflix action series.
So I think that a lot of the hype that One Piece is getting is because of the major advertisement that was done for this entire series. And I mean, we'll see what time tells us whether this thing is actually good or not. But I want to ask you guys, do you guys believe that the reason why these characters are so different is because they were crunched for time when it came to putting all of these episodes together in 8 hours? Or did the creators make these characters different and a bit more believable, which translated more for a live action? Now, for me personally, at first I was caught off by the differences in characters between the anime and the live action, but at the same time, I feel like some of the changes that they've made actually make the character more believable when they're actually real life. For example, like Zoro. It makes sense that this guy is a little bit more serious and that he's not such a goofball, because for you to become a swordsman, you gotta have skills and you have to take your craft seriously. So I think that it does translate to his character.
I'm sorry. This guy just looks like Disney Channel. This guy looks like no.
The special effects at sometimes is a little wonky. Like, for example, if we go back just a little bit, It just feels like, you got to look at the physics for a bit. Like, how is he stretching this far out and not falling? I feel like if they would have had him maybe move forward a bit more and exaggerated just the length that he's coming out, I think it would have been a little bit more believable, at least for the live action.
It just looks like Disney Channel. This guy said like never works in live action for me. Like it's like I'm watching The Mask or something. Part of the reason why I do animation here on this channel is because like suspending disbelief is so easy in a cartoon. Like I can make my little guy do whatever I want. Just and it's fine. But for me, it just never looks good when it's real people. Like there's always something so weirdly uncanny about this kind of thing. Anyway, so
I think he has a point. I'm wondering though if with a little bit more time and a little bit more effort, more money, right? If this does really well, if they can get some of these effects a bit better. I mean, I go back to thinking about like Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four, and I think that they do a way better job of making his stretching more believable.
Adventure, finding the One Piece. So in reading about this show, it seems to stick very close to the source material, which is what fans always want, apparently. Some adaptations, like Death Note or Cowboy Bebop or Dragon Ball, remember that masterpiece? Even The Witcher, for example, like they've gotten a lot of flack for straying too far and changing too much, and so now Netflix is being more careful, I assume. But if that's the case, then like, what's the point? Like they spent all this time and money to make like a greatest hits of the anime series, when the anime is just literally right there. I mean, the show is fine. It's good even. It's probably exactly what people were hoping for. Now, I am extremely biased here, but like with all these adaptations, I feel like it just loses a lot of the soul and creativity that you can only really get with animation. On the one hand, I'm glad we finally have a decent live-action adaptation of an anime because it really seemed like that was just impossible to do. It looks great, costumes, sets, cinematography, it's all fantastic. The show is objectively quite good. But on the other hand, like, why is this something that needs to happen? Like, why is this...
I don't know, I think that this guy's putting in a little bit more of his own bias. Obviously, he leans more towards the animation piece, which I get. Right? I think that there is a place for live action. I think that people want to see how creative people can get with the characters that they've loved and maybe get excited about seeing their characters in a brand new way. I think that for me, the adaptation so far is not bad. It's not like the best, but for me as a fan, I watched it looking forward to see how they morphed and changed the characters. And to be honest with you guys, it was interesting to see how they took some characters like Buggy and made him very different. In fact, he's almost like the Joker from Batman a bit. So I don't know, guys, have you enjoyed the One Piece remake? Is this a hype, or will this remake stand the test of time? This is all that I have for you guys today, and as always, just want to remind you that we must persevere.